It's so weird though, because I feel, with the whole acting process, that part, there's certain roles that you really fucking want, and I feel like it sucks when you finally have a role that really resonates with you and you don't get it, and then you see the person that gets it. I'm like, you son of a bitch. I hope I see you in the fucking streets, you fucking asshole. Dude.
And the only thing you can do is like, yeah, I wish him the best, man. I hope he does good. But deep down inside, you're like, fuck.
You're a lot nicer than me. I'm like, I wish the worst upon this person, dude. You were going to destroy this role and it should have went to me. You fucking asshole, man. It's hard to play.
You got to Tanya Harding them.
I'm just going to fucking hit them with the kneecap. Bow, bitch. Deal with that. Then he gets a role for a fucking person in a wheelchair.
Just hire Khalif.
I know. Khalif fucking kick his ass for me.
Yeah, I know.
It's hard, man. Like, I think that, when I first started doing the whole acting thing for the year, because I really wanted to figure out what it was like.
Yeah.
That shit was not easy, man. I don't know how you've been doing it for so long.
It's because, I love doing it, I think like it takes a certain kind of person, you might have to have like some kind of masochistic kind of personality, to go through, the ups and downs. And I don't know. I like it.
You like it?
Yeah, I like it. I feel like the job isn't necessarily the job. It is like the process of trying to get it. And that's sort of what excites me. When there's like, when there are droughts and I'm not doing anything, for some reason I like it a little bit. It's a weird kind of feeling.
It's that hunger feeling, right?
Yeah,
it makes you push towards something.
Yeah, and if it was easy, I don't know if I would like it so much. If it was like, people say like, is it hard like being Asian American, like with like all this lack of representation and whatnot? And I'm like, yeah, it is. But then like if it was given to me like so easily, I don't know if I would like it so much. I sort of like this challenge. It's fun.
Yeah.
Like navigating this whole system.
I don't think you've ever fallen into that category of somebody who's ever put it on their ethnicity for a reason why you never got to book a role, right?
Yeah,
no. I've always hated that attitude too, because I've heard that so often, specifically in this industry. They go, oh, I didn't book it because they don't want people who look like me in this role. But at the same time, I mean, not going to call it any names, but I see some of the people who have been complaining the loudest, and I'm like, you're the worst actor I've ever seen in my life. How fucking dare you?
And what's funny? It might be the case, but then like just even saying that out loud for yourself as an artist, it just hinders you from like, doing better work.
Yeah.
You justify it by saying, oh yeah, they didn't cast me because they didn't want an Asian guy. They went in another ethnicity.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just didn't cast you because you weren't the right part for it. You weren't good enough.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's a more rational way for me to think things, because if I keep thinking it's about something that's out of my control, then it makes me go crazy.
Yeah.
Like what's the point?
Yeah, totally.
It's such a hard thing to deal with too. It's just like, oh, it's because I'm Asian. But I would like to hear that from people who I respect a little more, though. Yeah. Because I think that people who are booking, who do great things, and you look at them and they're respected in their craft, I don't ever hear them say that shit. And there's a reason why they're booking. I think Justin said it the best too. He goes, he goes, I don't really like to play this game. He goes, I just try to get booked based on my skill.
Yeah.
So, because if the skill is there, it's gonna eventually it'll become undeniable.
Eventually, it'll hit something. You know what I mean?
I mean, before you hit this big role on a big series, I mean, what's it kind of like? I think as an actor too, because people want to go into this profession. What's it like, kind of dealing with not being able to book, right? Because I feel like that's a majority of the acting game is it's number one is studying your craft and the waiting game.
Yeah, dude. You just got to figure out, what to do during that time. And it literally is just continuing to work on your shit. If you think like, oh man, I don't think it should be a waiting game. And I think once people start thinking of it like they're waiting, then nothing will come. But if you just keep yourself busy, work on other things and just try to get better, take a class. I mean, I think it's just like it's working out a muscle, man.
Do you ever like doubt your skill?
Oh yeah, for sure, all the time, man. But the thing is that what I've learned though is that you got to use that and use that doubt and put it into the character. And if you start working on that character as a doubtful character, then that doubt creeps in as something that's a part of that person.
Yeah.
And so people can't really see that. And you sort of just bring it in and put it into the story. And I feel like that has really helped.
Yeah, because Maybe because you deal with this so well, because like there's some other people I think that because it's a career where you are constantly looking for affirmation all the time.
Yeah.
And you don't even get the tips to why you can't even book some of these roles. So you're kind of left feeling lost all the time, right? And so it's like, how do you become that person where you still stay confident in your choices after you leave an audition?
Yeah.
Because I think that's the first thing that happens to a lot of people who go into this. They go, oh, I thought I did really well. What the fuck is it? And they try to switch up their game plan.
They start switching things. They start thinking like, what do they want? They start doing things that they think other people want to see. But I feel like if you really believe in what you're bringing to the story, then there's no need to think about anything else and how you should do things differently, because you never know why they're gonna book you.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to go in and just be very steadfast in your capability.
Yeah.
And just try to get better and better. Not try to navigate the system and try to do better so that they'll pick you. Because if you keep doing that, you're just going to keep missing, I believe. Like, you just have to go in like, yo, this is what I believe the story is. This is what I believe, how the character would be in this kind of situation. And then you just present that to them.
Yeah. If somebody was trying to be an actor, let's say like out of the blue, what would be like a couple of things you would tell somebody in order to be like successful and survive in this industry? What's something that you would tell them?
Man, I think it's just, you just got to be very persistent, man. And you gotta work at it. It's not about like, it's different from other kinds of art because it's not really a performance. You know, you're not going in there and doing like, it's like, this is a performance. You really have to become these characters. So you got to really work on, I guess you got to work on, you got to go take a class, man. Like, it's not something that is just like, oh, I'm going to be an actor. And then some people become successful that way and they hit like one big thing. But then I feel like, over time, you know, it's going to expire. And I feel like if you really want to do something like this, you just got to work on your craft, man. That's pretty much the biggest thing, I think.
Yeah.
And I feel like some people think it's just so easy. You know, it's like someone saying like, oh, I want to be a doctor. And then they go and they think they can be a doctor like the next week.
I get really annoyed when somebody does that to like for example, I don't know how many times I met somebody where they go, dude, I got this great script idea. I'm like, listen to me, shut the fuck up. Like I don't want to hear it. Like I really don't. Not to say that maybe your script idea isn't great, but they kind of, I want people to understand that when you tell that to somebody who is, I'm not a scriptwriter, screenwriter, right? Mm-hmm. But when you tell that to somebody who's a screenwriter that has worked their ass off to be where they're at, right? And you go, I have something that the world hasn't seen yet, and I'm going to do something better than you. It's like, okay, out of all the people in the world, why is it that it would be you? I'm not telling you to self-doubt yourself, but have a little bit of self-awareness, because I think people, they kind of don't understand how difficult it is to either sell a TV show, to get a movie made and have it be really good. And they not, without knowing that, they kind of, you're lightweight looking, you're kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? You guys are not being mindful of how the work and dedication it takes to be in that career.
Yeah, it's true, man. Self-awareness is very key.
Yeah.
You know what's funny though is when anyone starts off though doing any kind of like artistic thing, I think that's sort of what propels them at first though, because they think they can do it. They're like, fuck yeah, I got this. I want to be an actor. I can do this. And it's just that, it's just being naive just a little bit. But then, once they dip their toes into the field and they realize how crazy it is, then that's when they should start, working towards, getting better at what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But sometimes, in the beginning, it sort of helps them.
Oh, for sure.
It's just like in ignorance.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I'm a fucking, I can be a dancer. I like music, I can move my body, but that's what propels people to do stuff.
Yeah.
And, I admire that at first, but over time, you got to realize that, there are so many other, there's so many other things that come into play.
Yeah.
And even as an actor too, it's like, why do you want to do it in the first place?